I will make a video of the presentation today with Camtasia, and after the presentation I will send the video to Mr. Baldini, and he can give it to all you if you want. You can hear me, that I can see, because somebody was writing this, so everything is okay. I will start the record now. 3, 2, 1. Okay. At the beginning there were a few questions how to solve today, or how to show. First one was how to make single blocks, views and sections. First step, I will start to explain how to make a block. In AX3000 there are different type of blocks. A few blocks can be, one type could be a variable block. This variable block can be used, for example, in ventilation, like fire dampers or noise reducers. At the other side, I have to check if audio also. So if I only want to check if the sound is also recorded. I stop it and I restart, because otherwise I cannot see if the sound is recorded or not. Okay. Good. So now I know it's recorded. So how to make a block, especially, or the first information, AX3000, I need a license. Okay. I was switching the version, so I have to change the license now. Okay. The first information is, if you use blocks, and the blocks should be a variable one. Variable blocks, they must be saved in a block directory. This is in KData, in the KData folder. This KData folder, easiest you can open by using the settings dialog. At the bottom left side you have a button Open KData. In the KData, this is directory on the hard drive. You have one folder per trade. You have a heating folder, you have a ventilation folder, and you have a sanitary folder. In all of these subfolders you have a directory called blocks, and inside this block directory there should be the blocks inside to save this. I will make a new subfolder for my own blocks. Right mouse button, new folder, my own, to find it later on in the software. What is the easiest type of block? The easiest type of block is a 2D block, one by one. Then it could be used variable in any size. We use standard AutoCAD blocks, so I start with an empty drawing inside the plan view, and I draw maybe lines. So I draw the graphic of my block, only a square with the size of 1. I have to wait because there's a very long delay because of the large number of people are looking now. Okay. I use standard cut functions to draw the graphic. Maybe this should be the the type of my block, the size, the viewing. Do is create the name. Maybe my first block should be the name. Base point should be in the center. And the objects I have to select. So now this is a standard block made in AutoCAD or BricsCAD. The drawing I have to save into my blocks directory. So I say file save as. And I have to find out the folder on my computer. It's drive D, program data, ESS, X3000, K data, then the ventilation folder, for example, Lüftung blocks. They have made a new subdirectory, was called my own, and drawing should be Mike, the name of the drawing. So now if I close the drawing and I use the construction module, for example, and also the ESLN module, I have to select 2 points. I want to draw a duct, size, height, whatever. Element. I have a new subfolder, I have a new drawing, and I have a new block inside. The preview you can see here is the same than before. It's enlarged to the size I insert. So if I want to have it 350, it's also changed into this direction. I can continue, next duct, and that's all. The point is now at the moment, because I was drawing only a two-dimensional block, that this block is now also a two-dimensional one. If I want to have it 3D, so I need a three-dimensional block, I open recent drawing, my drawing Mike. Maybe I copy the file, I copy the block inside the file, I explode the block, and I change it a little bit. So former it was a square with the size of 1, now I make a cube. Copy, up 1. I want to have the circle at the bottom and the X at the top. And I add a few lines. And I make a new block. So the name should be my second block. Select elements, everything. And the base point now should be in the center. So I've made a new block with the base point in the center. I close the drawing, I save the drawing. And now I can continue with the construction. I want to start, go straight ahead, select blocks from the catalog. Second block is available. If I select it, you can see at the graphic that the circle is at the bottom. The X is at the top. If I rotate it, now circle is on the left side, at the top side, or at the bottom side, because I can rotate it along the axis of the element. If I use the shade mode, because I was drawing the block only with lines, I can see that there's no element inside, so I have to make a third block maybe with a solid element or a volume element inside. Copy. So to make it a little bit easier, I snap it. Between 2 points. I mark the connection point, explode the graphic should be in color black, so I change maybe the color to white, and I add a solid element, a cube. Inside make a new block. Maybe my third block elements. So, big point as insert point. So this is the easiest type of blocks you can have. The size is only 1 by 1 by 1. They have to be saved inside a folder. If you want to have it as a round element, it's always the maximum coordinate should be a box with the size of 1. Select the wall. Maybe I want to go up with the elbow. At this side I want to add a component, my third block maybe. Oh, maybe I was using the wrong layer. I forgot to. I was not selecting the block for the solid element inside. I was using the wrong block. Let's check. Ah, my third block, there it is. I was using the wrong, I've changed the name. Okay, so I've made a variable block. If you want to add some tables, size table to this type of block, to select here, you need a file inside the same folder. The name could be the name of the block, or it could be the name of the drawing. The software is searching in a hierarchic way for those tables. So in the first step, there's the software looks for the name of the block if there is a table available. If not, it's looking for the name of the file is table available. So you can use one table for more than one block if they are inside the drawing in one time. The type of those tables are ASCII, so you can copy existing table file as you want. The ending is .tab. The name could be Mike, or it could be the name of the block. My first block was the name of one of these blocks. If I open, you can see there are only sizes inside with the length, the height, and the height and the width of the element. If I delete a few lines now, for one of these blocks I have 3 different sizes available. If I go back to iPlan and I connect, elements, if I select maybe this element now, I can see I have 3 different sizes available as a standard size. If I use another block, I have 6 different sizes available because the block file is used. Also, at the small icon behind this field, I can see that the file group block table is used. In the other case, if I use file number 1, the block table is used. Also here you can use this button to edit, but there must be one file available to use it. This is the first and the easiest block table. If you have blocks, for example, in piping, valves, pumps, whatever, let's start with a pipe, whatever, dimension 65. And I ignore the flange. I only place a valve first, maybe a ball valve, whatever, 65. And you want to have it in the original geometry. This block is not in the size 1 by 1 by 1. This block is in original size. And to solve this, you get a manufacturer's drawing, an original drawing, or you can draw it by hand. And I will open now this file to show how to save this and how to manage this type of files. So on my computer at the moment I'm in ventilation. I switch to the heating. I open exactly the path I was inside now. It was original path. It was valve. It was control valve, not ball valve, sorry. Ball valve, and it was this file. So there you can see also there are different tables inside for the tables in the next step, and there's only one AutoCAD drawing inside. If I open the drawing, you can see that there are more blocks inside the drawing. For example, the name of this block is ball valve DN32. So this is the name of the block. You get it from the manufacturer. You collect them inside one drawing. You make a block. The blocks are made from the left to the right side, so in orientation of flow. And the first point, the base point of the block is on the first connection. So if I use, for example, another valve instead of the ball valve, now I use, for example, one angle, the other one, only to show a few differences or examples. This is maybe this type of valve. You can see this is also a block, and on one of those flanges is the base point, and it's always safe that the open pipe is coming from the left to the right side. This is the first information. If you get the file from the manufacturer, you can use it without any change. It's only necessary to have a block inside the drawing, and it must be saved inside the software. For many type of valves like this corner valve, or also for the ball valve, the software has to know where is the connection. And in this situation, the pipe has to be ending inside the element and has to start inside the element. Or at the corner valve, this angular valve, the software also has to know that the connecting pipe is going up, and depending on this, we need connection points. And these connection points are saved in the directory in those tab files. So if we start with the ball valve first, DN65, this was maybe the valve we were saving or using, sorry, not saving, using, like this. The first point is at the base point, and the second valve should be somewhere here inside the diameter. Let's look inside the table. It's also an ASCII file, and there are only two lines interesting to explain it now. The valve has two connection points, the first one and the second one. The first connection point is on the coordinate 0, so at the same point then the base point of the element is, and the next connection point is 79 millimeter, because the values inside the file are meter is 79 millimeter more at the right side. You have three angles. You have a connection diameter 65. This looks like very complex or complicated, but in reality it's quite easy to manage this. You get the block from the manufacturer. You make an AutoCAD file somewhere inside the KData. You collect your blocks inside, and then you will find in AX3000 a group. You can load this group with AX3000 underline VIP for a very important person, not for the Croatian mobile network, for the mobile phones. This group is called special. And there's one function to define connection points. If you open the function and you select the trait and you select an element, it could be also a new block. Maybe this, let's take the same than before. Ball valve, maybe 65. The software is drawing the element in the drawing. is opening a list, and inside this list, inside this table or in the database, you can define now the connection points by making a new connection point. Then can select the coordinate, maybe like here. Then you can see now I have a first point, a second point, and a third point. This point now has a dimension, maybe, I don't know, 25 millimeter going up. No second one, it should be round. You have three angles, a horizontally one, a vertically one to go up, and one to rotate along the axis. And in this way, you have to define the connection points. They are saved inside these depth files, and if you have done it one time for one block, this can be used on this computer. If you copy both the file, including the block plus the table, to another computer, it also can be used at others. So with this function, it's quite easy to manage or to make your own blocks. If you have some questions, don't hesitate to use the chat area of GoToMeeting. It's quite easy to answer. I will try to answer it directly at this point. If it's not possible, we can do it, or I can answer it later after the presentation via email or something like this. I don't want to change, save my changes because the valve is already here. Close. Okay. Let's go back. So this was the first point of the web session today, how to create, to manage, to make, and to manipulate your own blocks. The next question was how to generate views, sections, and which types of views and sections and different viewings can be made. So I will switch back to the plan view. Those functions are implemented in this extended menu at the bottom. There you will find two groups. One is called 2D and the other one is 3D section or view. The 2D view is always a representation. That means the software is generating something and you can place it as a separate graphic or block or symbol inside the plan view. This can be done for the plan view itself as a detail or as a section. Section means you need a 2D graphic first, so maybe I draw it with a few lines. This was a little bit at the left side. Move. No, where's the linear? Draw a new line. Maybe from here. It happens, okay. Shift. Normally the architect is drawing the section. At the moment I haven't got, so I draw it by myself. Move maybe to this point. So maybe this is the section and I want to see these ducts inside this section as a representation manually. So I use the section function. A dialog opens. The same dialog opens if you say, if you switch the 2D plan view or if you make a detail. At the top, there are the settings if you want to have it filled or not filled, or do you want to have a black and white graphic. In all three versions, you get a filling inside the duct. In the first and the last one, you have a very light gray filling inside the duct. This is needed to have to generate the hidden lines, ducts below or not, because this function also can calculate hidden lines. During the print or plot process, you can switch this color from gray to white, so it's not plotted, and then you have a unfilled duct. Some color tables are prepared for this version. I want to use now the filled one. The first important thing here is the reference height of the element. It's 0, for example. That means now the software is waiting for 4 points. The first point is at the left side. The second point is at the right side. It's something like point of you are standing on. And the second point is the orientation you look to. So if I'm standing at the wall, I want to look into the room. The first 2 points are on the wall. This second information for the first point is that the software will ask you where the section should be, or where do you want to draw the section. I want to have it here in this architect's element, and the first point I selected the plan view should be on the same position then you select in the section in the second step. So as an example, the first point is at the left side corner of the room. The second point is maybe at the right side of the room. The third point, my orientation I want to look to, is in the room. The software is drawing 2 symbols. They are saved as a block inside the drawing. And I want to have the section here. This must be the same point then I have selected in a plan view, because this is used to move the ducts to the left and to the right, and this should be on the reference height you have inserted in the dialog before. So if I insert 0 and this is the level of 0, I have to select this point. And now there's a question, which duct or elements do you want to see, and then I can select my elements should be visualized inside this section. The Z coordinate, the center of this duct was on 0. So you can see the first duct is on the level of 0 because this was the reference value. And if I draw a dimension maybe from the wall to the beginning of the duct, the offset is 1017 millimeter. Size of the measuring line is a little bit small, but if I check the same in the plan view, dimension linear from the wall to the beginning of the duct, it's also 1017, because the first point I've selected in the plan view was the same point, and in the section this is used to move it to the left or to the right side. If you highlight the extended element you delete it, the entire section will be deleted. If I select maybe section, the first point at the top and the second one maybe at the bottom, and I want to look to the right side of the screen, it's the third point, and I select maybe as an example this one, so this is not the correct section, but to show what happens. And then I select maybe only one duct. Only one duct is highlighted, reference height is the same, and I want to change this dimensions a little bit, text style, dimension style, activated one, enlarge, okay. Awesome. The first point was in the corner. The same was done here. Dimension linear was the same then in the plan view. To move it up and down, it's necessary. It can be done with this function, or I use the move function later on. The second could be a detail. Details can be used if the plan view or the architect's plan is an external reference. You can double the external reference. You can say I want to see, maybe also you need a reference point. First I copy the part of the plan view, maybe. Copy. I have a external reference, okay. I can say I want to have a detail. Also fulfilled. I use the upper left corner of Office 6 as a reference point. The same is maybe in my second plan view at this position. And if I select the ducts, the software is drawing a 2D representation inside this plan view as a 2D representation. So it's possible in a paper space layout to use one as a 3D view and the other one for 2D fulfilled with hidden lines representation for the ducts. And at the other side, the first icon switches directly the 3D duct into a 2D view. So at the moment you can see the ducts are three-dimensionally. If I use the first icon, make it 2D plan view and fulfilled, confirm, maybe I want to use only one or two of the ducts. They are switched into a 2D view. Now you have it two-dimensionally. To switch back, you can say delete this 2D view, select the elements, confirm, and then they are switched back to the 3D viewing. So this can be used to change between 2D and 3D view. This was a representation to the top view, 3D wireframe mode. Okay, there's no need for this one. And in the last step, you can make a 3D view, but this 3D view now is only to view to your building, including clip planes to clip what's in front and behind these two clip planes. For this I will enlarge my system a little bit, because this can be used in vertically or in a horizontally form. Ventilation construction, I want to continue at this duct. I want to go to the wall. I want to go vertically, maybe up, offset. I want to add 3 ducts with 1.50 meters, and then I want to go maybe to this area at this wall. I want to go to the left and continue. Okay. What means a 3D view? 3D view, to generate a 3D view, you have to do this the same way than for 2D views. The same. My first point is, I need a name, maybe A is the name of the view. The first point should be at the left side. The second point should be at the right side. This is the point you are standing. The second, the third point is the deep of the view, and everything in front of your 2 points and behind the third point will be invisible, and also the viewing will be rotated. So by selecting the third point now, AutoCAD or BricsCAD is changing the orientation, and I only can see the loop coming from the vertically plus the horizontal plus going up plus the element going back. To switch back to see everything, you find in the group 2 icons. One is changing the view to the top view and deactivating the front and the back clip plane. to go back, plus the sections are done. So if I use it the second time, I want to have a section number B. Enter, confirm. The first point should be here. The second point should be maybe below. The third point is going to the right. By pressing the third point, the view changes and also the clip planes are changing. So in this situation, it is necessary, because this is really a 3D view, to import or to rotate the section of the architect or the geometry of the section directly inside this visible clip planes. Go back to the plan view. If you make the same, instead of the model space in a paper space, it's only done for the activated drawing window. Okay, there is a layer activated with line thickness. Okay. So if I'm here, maybe I double click the drawing window. I want to have a 3D view. Maybe C. I want to look from this side. First point, second point's a little bit below, left point as a third one. I look from the right to the left. The view is rotating, and I can see the entire one. If you want to reactivate those views, you can use the second and the third point inside this group with nearly the same icon. The second point means select an element. As an element, you have to select the section block, or I need a new drawing window, maybe copy, maybe outside. I want to double click, go back to the plan view. Or another point could be you want to reactivate selecting from a list. So the software searching with sections you have done before, and I can double click to see to get exactly this section activated. Or if I say B, first escape from a list, double click P. So now I can see this was one time was from the left side, one time was from the right side. This you can use for sections inside the plan view, but it's also possible to make it in the plan view. Copy. Go back to the top. Switch off the line weight is okay. These are polylines, so depending on this, they are different. It can be done for a horizontally section. For this, you have to insert a front and a back clip plane manually. So if I insert the must be double clicked, so the layout must be activated. Also can be done in the model space. The front clip plane is the upper one. Maybe I want to see height of 8 meter. 2 times enter, and the back clip plane could be maybe 3 meter. And then everything will be switched off what's not in front and the back clip plane. But I cannot read Croatian language. It could be that I have inserted the values wrong. 8 meter and 3 meter. Yes. So now I only can see values or elements between 8 meter as the upper level and 3 meter as a lower level. If I say now the 0 up to 3, yes. If I say my lower is maybe minus 1 meter 50. Right, sorry, minus 1 meter 50 is 1 0 more, minus 1500. Upper one is okay. Okay. There we have to check there's the wrong command inside. They are missing 2 lines in the group. There we have to check the software is missing 2 coordinates because the first the point of view has to be designed. You're looking from 0, 0, 0, what is up as a reference height. Otherwise, depending on this now, it's a little bit moved and the coordinates are not correct. But you have to define the upper and the lower level, and everything above or below those 2 coordinates will be switched off. The second button is to switch off or switch on the last coordinates. It can be also done if you have activated maybe this section. I can see the only these elements, but if I switch off the back clip plane, I can see that there are elements, and also the front clip plane can be switched off. Then I can see everything. I only use the view without clip planes. Views and sections. Labeling in an isometric view, labeling in a paper space, and labeling of sections. If you're using a representation in a plan view, this is not a problem to label because it's flat. It's like a plan view, so everything can be labeled. If you are in a frontal view, the easiest way is you make it, for example, in the model space or in the paper area in the model space, and you use the, for example, associated labeling. But the associated labeling in this situation, and it also can be done in the model area. Maybe if I look from the front, from this way, the software has to know what is the coordinate system, and this can be done by changing the coordinate system, because the labels are always placed inside the drawing area. So if I activate, for example, a section, no. Select maybe this one, and I want to label the ducts. I have to change my coordinate system that it's inside the visible area, and for this easiest way is to use a duct as a reference. To do this, this looks like okay. You will find a coordinate system function, the same group you have in AutoCAD. There's UCS1 or UCS2, and one of this, it's called coordinate system to an object. And in this situation I use a duct. Depending on this, my X and Y and also the Z coordinate level is placed on the same orientation than the duct. And so you can use, for example, the function associated labeling to label dimension or flow rate or whatever. You want to label this block element 1, 2, 3, sorry, X, Y, no, no, so model space. I have to be in the layout, so okay, now associated labeling. I think this one, it can be shown. It's easier. So when you're in the paper space, like this one, in every view, and you have world coordinates activated. It's a little bit easier. I explain it in a different way. If you're in a paper space and you have activated the world coordinates and you use the associated leveling, the associated leveling function is calculating automatically an angle. So you can see I'm in the isometric view. I have original world coordinates without any change, but the line starting at my drawing cross is going horizontally to the right. So the software is automatically calculating the angle to level. You can see I'm using a polar function, for example, to level the ducts exactly in the position. If I change the rotation, maybe I only rotate to another side, maybe like this, and I use associated leveling, the same level, this element, it's also rotated to the same direction. You only have to move polygonal as a polar to have it straight, so it's automatically calculated to the view. And the same happens if you look, for example, from the front, and the same is for the section, associated leveling. Maybe now I use another one, this one, first element. You can see it's rotated, go to the left. It's also rotated automatically. So use the isometric view in a paper space. You have to look that world coordinates are activated or not, but the function is automatically calculating the rotation and the position of the element inside the paper space to be. Only one point. The element is placed on the Z coordinate, so it could be on another position, and for this it's helpful to use the object function, because if you look from the front and you want to have the level in the same plane than the duct, then you can say you want to use an object. You select the duct. Now the Z coordinate or the Z level is placed in this duct area. So front view, object, associated leveling, you select the element. Maybe I want to have it on the same position than before. Second, it looks like the same, but you can define in this way the position in the plan view, because I've selected the duct as a level. This is the plane for placing the element. So it also works if you have defined a section from the top view, or from the front view, or from another one. Maybe I want to look from the right and I want to level this duct. Activate the section, this one, plane from an object, from this one. I want to level the dimension. I select the block, okay, the element, I want to place it, and it also can be rotated if it's necessary. So these are the points. The customers or Baldini Studio was asking for a web session today. If there are a few questions, then you can write it into the chat area. Otherwise, I have made a movie of the presentation today, or this webinar today. This will be sent to Baldini Studio, and they can give it to you, because I only have the first name of a few. All of the other, I have no mail addresses to send it to. Is there any question? Otherwise, if not, I say thank you, and maybe we see us the next time.
you.